Let's get into some possible wide receiver draft targets in the first round for the Baltimore Ravens here on Ravens Rundown by Chat Sports. I got 4 names to get into. Before we do that, though, I want you guys to go vote right now in the comments section. Assuming there's somebody that you want, blah, blah, blah. Do you want the Ravens to draft a wide receiver in the first round and help out Lamar Jackson a little bit? Get your votes in for me. A simple Y for yes or N for no. Now, look, the reality is you're not going to get a Devonta Smith or a Jalen Waddle or even a Kyle Pitts or a Jamar Chase unless you get wild and trade up. So if the Ravens stand pat back end of round 1, 4 names who I think could make the most sense for them. 2 bigger outside guys, Rashod Bateman from Minnesota, Terrace Marshall from LSU, and 2 slottier, shiftier guys, Kadarius Toney from Florida and Elijah Moore from Ole Miss. So going player by player, beginning with Rashod Bateman, who you see the stat line right there, and you go, 36 grabs, 472 yards, 2 scores. Why would I want that? I don't want that guy on my team. I'm not spending a first-round pick on him. Remember, COVID-shortened season, Big Ten did not play a full slate of games, and Rashod Bateman was not the same guy because he had COVID before the year began and never got his sea legs under him. At his pro day, he was back to his full speed. And the 2019 film, unquestionably, is worth a first-round selection. So if Bateman is there for Minnesota in round 1, I think they take him and finally have an outside borderline possession style threat that they tried to have with Miles Boykin and Dez Bryant. This time, they get a good one in Rashod Bateman. Now, if Bateman's off the board, I would look at Terrace Marshall. Good size, not quite 6'3", but we'll round up for that point there. Good production, too, both this year and the previous year with Joe Burrow, without Joe Burrow. Good vertical speed. He brings you the ability to be that X-style receiver. Vertical threat, can still do some underneath stuff. He did opt out early of the LSU season, and the way he did it, I think, might have rubbed some NFL folks the wrong way. I think there's a real chance he's there at the back end of round 1, and with teams like the Ravens and Packers drafting there, plus the Bengals early in round 2, that might be his sweet spot. One of the biggest risers at the wide receiver spot in this year's draft, Kadarius Toney, has a decent enough size, but will be at his best as a slot receiver. You see the production, right? 70 grabs, 984 yards, 10 touchdowns. Brings you electric ability after the catch. Fantastic athlete, is still a little bit of a gadget player, and that is a red flag. Because with the Ravens offense not being the best passing offense, do you want to try to force scheme touches for Kadarius Toney or for maybe Marquise Brown instead? So there is some overlap there, but if they want a more slot-type receiver who brings you after-the-catch juice and speed, Toney makes sense. Elijah Moore, meanwhile, also had a big-time breakout year. Look at that stat line. 86 grabs, over 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. He was great this year for Ole Miss, and I think is being undervalued, at least from the national discussion that I've seen out there as it relates to receivers. I worry he's not going to be a full-time outside guy. I might be pigeonholed to being a slot. If he can play outside, the player comp becomes Tyler Lockett. If it's not, well, then he's a good slot receiver. And I know there's Devin Duvernay on the roster as well for the Baltimore Ravens. But if the top receivers are gone and the Ravens just badly want one, or if they trade down, I do think Elijah Moore is a good fit.